It's gonna be quick dahil nalay na natin yung foundations ng ating study for tonight. So you remember yung study natin last time regarding yung parable of the talents. Binanggit natin doon na the Lord used something that will catch the attention ng kanyang audience. Binanggit niya yung talent and 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. Nakita natin anong panahon na yon that is a huge sum of money, no? And it's all about teaching while waiting for the return of the king, while waiting for the return, habang hinihintay natin yung pagbabalik ng ating Panginoon, ang turo doon is let us not be greedy instead. Let us not chase for worldly wealth. No, huwag tayo maging greedy. Hindi natin dapat hinahabol ang mundong yaman, but rather getting ourselves ready. Kasi ang context nga nun is watch. Keep watch because you do not know the day and the time. So, bago binanggit ng Panginoon yung parable na yan, sa Luke chapter 19, tawag dyan is parable of the minas. The same context but pretty much the same lesson. No? Babalik tayo ng konti. We will go backwards, I think Luke 16. Titignan natin dito yung parable of the unjust steward. No? Although we have studied this last time, let us again go back to that parable and again looking back to that parable with ancient eyes, kung tawagin natin, no? Looking at that parable as how the first century Christians saw it, and as how the audience of Christ heard that parable. No? So let me just share again that screen patungkol na ito sa parable of the unjust manager. Kung tawagin natin parable of the unjust steward. Okay? So basahin ko lang nasa Luke chapter 16 ito, verses 1 to 13. No? So sabi niya rito, he said also to the disciples, there was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to the manager that this man was wasting his possessions. And he called him and said to him, what is this that I hear about you? Turn in the account of your management, for you can no longer be manager. And the manager said to himself, what shall I do, since my master is taking the management away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I have decided what to do, so that when I am removed from management, people may receive me into their houses. So, summoning his master's debtors one by one, he said to the first debtor, how much do you owe my master? He said, 100 measures of oil. He said to him, take your bill, sit down quickly and write 50. And then he said to another debtor, how much do you owe? He said, 100 measures of wheat. He said to him, take your bill and write 80. The master commended the dishonest manager for his shrewdness. For the sons of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than the sons of light. And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of unrighteous wealth, so that when it fails, they may receive you into the eternal dwellings. One who is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust to you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another's, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. So, of course, kung babalik kami yung context ng parable na yan, binanggit ng Panginoon muna yung parable niyang, bago niya binanggit itong parable of the unjust manager, kinausap niya muna yung mga Pariseo. At kasi kinikriticize ang Panginoong Jesus ng mga Pariseo, no? The Pharisees were criticizing the Lord, saying, why is he joining with sinners and tax collectors? Kasi nakita nga nila sa chapter 15, yung ang Panginoong Jesus na mingle, no? Nakikihalubilo sa mga tax collectors and sinners as Luke described it. And then, nagpaliwanag ang Panginoon Jesus doon by way of parable. Pinakita niya doon yung parable of the lost sheep, parable of the lost coin, yung ligaw na anak. So, all those parables para paringgan yung mga Pariseo, no? Patungkol nga sa katotohanan that the Lord has come to find, to seek and save those who were lost. That is why He was with the sinners, para nga hanapin niya yung kanyang mga nawawalang tupa, no? And then pagdating sa chapter 16, notice na yung parable na yan, bigla niyang itinuon sa mga disipulo niya, no? So you have to understand na while the parable of the lost coin, the lost sheep, and yung son, prodigal son, were addressed to the Pharisees, disciples, and probably the general audience, no? Siguro mga mahihirap o iba pa mga audience doon apart from the Pharisees, maliban sa Pharisees, the Sadducees, and teachers of the law, and his disciples. Yung parable 16, yung parable of the unjust manager, itinuon niya mismo sa kanyang mga disciples. And makikita mo yan sa verse mismo nung sinabi niya, he also said to the disciples. So it's very important na maunawaan natin yung punto na ito itinuon niya mismo, idinirekta niya para sa kanyang mga disipulo, no? So sinimulan niyan by saying that there was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that the manager, was wasting the master's possessions. So ano yung punto nito ng Panginoong Jesus dito? Bakit niya biglang itinuon yung parable of the unjust manager sa kanyang mga disipulo lang? Kasi you have to understand yung lead up ng kanyang parable of the talents, itinuon niya mismo, sinimulan niya dito sa parable of the unjust manager, no? And then hanggang sa makikita natin doon yung kanyang later on yung sitwasyon ni Lazarus, and then yung patungkol sa rich man sa chapter 18 na dapat ibigay mo yung mga possession mo sa mga may hirap. So, tinutukoy niya dito yung tungkol sa pera, no? Kaya ang matatandaan ninyo sa parable of the talents, again, malaking pera yung kanyang binigay na halimbawa sa kanyang parabola, no? So, dito sinimulan niya yung pag-uusap patungkol sa pera, no? Dito sa parable of the unjust manager, and sabi ko nga, ito niya mismo sa kanyang mga disciples. So, ano yung parable na yan? What is it about? Ano yung tinuturo ng parable na yan para sa kanyang mga disipulo? Ano yung mensahe na gusto iparating ng Panginoong Jesus sa mga disipulo niya nung kanyang binanggit yung parable of the unjust manager? Himayin natin ng konti, no? I-identify natin sino ba yung mga characters doon sa parable na yun, no? Again, may binanggit na merong rich man. Again, we will not immediately conclude that the rich man is the Lord. Hindi. The rich man is never the Lord there, no? He's never the Lord there because that is the rich man. The Lord would not identify himself as rich, no? Although alam natin na the Lord is glorious and He owns everything. Remember the context nun, sabi natin, ang tingin ng mga tao sa mga mayayaman was they are exploiting the poor, no? So yun ang tingin nila sa rich. So we will not consider the rich man as the Lord Himself. Dahil hindi ang allegory hindi yun ang katumbas ng Panginoon sa parable, no? So identify muna natin yung parable na yung characters. You have the rich man, meron siyang tagapangasiwa o manager or steward, tagapanglaga, and then meron siyang mga debtors. You have to understand na yung rich man, maliwanag, mayaman siya, no? Wala nang problema doon. Sabi nga natin, we have to understand yung concept ng mga unang century sa mga mayaman. They equate rich man with the sinners kasi nga they're exploiting the poor, no? Yun ang tingin nila sa mga mayaman. Others, of course, sa mga Pariseo naman, mga Pharisees, they think na pag mayaman ka, you are blessed by God, no? So because of their self-righteousness, no? So yun naman ang sa punto ng mga Pariseo. But anyway, sa rich man, makikita natin na yung kanyang tagapangasiwa ay natanggal. Tinanggal yung tagapangasiwa niya, yung kanyang manager, simply because sabi nga niya, may natanggap siyang balita na yung kanyang tagapangasiwa winawaldas yung possession ng rich man, no? So yung kanyang katiwala ay katiwaldas, sabi nga, di ba? So meron siyang katiwaldas doon. So tinanggal niya ngayon, sabi niya, ito napapakinggan ko about you, hindi ka na pwede maging manager, bigay mo lang libro para makita ko yung ginawa mong pangangasiwa, no? And then meron siya mga debtors. So you only have three characters there. You have the rich man, the steward, and the debtors. Need to understand na yung debtors na binanggit dito ng Panginoon, hindi siya yung mga mahihirap na debtors, no? Hindi mahihirap na debtors. Kasi kung titignan mo sa halimbawa ng Panginoon, yung utang ng mga tenants o ng mga debtors, no? Yung utang nila, hindi maliit na bagay. yung 100 measures of oil, back then, pag sinabing 100 measures of oil, ang katumbas niya ngayon is mahigit 3,000 litro. No? Almost 3,000 liters of oil, o sa galon is more than 800 gallons of oil. So malaking production yun. No? Malaki mo, ito pala yung utang ng debtor. No? So paano pa yung kanyang sariling production? So hindi siya maliliit na debtors, kundi medyo big time ng mga negosyante ito, o di kaya big time ng mga nakautang sa kanilang master kasi nga matindi yung kanilang pagkakautang. Yung 100 measures of wheat, ang katumbas niya ngayon in bushels is about 3,000 kilos of wheat. So yun ang utang ng second debtor. No? So these are not ordinary debtors, base sa parable lang. Although, of course, this is just a parable. Pero ang point dito is pinapakita ng Panginoon na itong mga may utang malalaki. Malalaki yung pera ang pinag-uusapan. Malaking halaga. Malaking halaga ang pinag-uusapan. 875 gallons of oil and 3,000 kilos of wheat. Bagamat hindi pera ang pinag-uusapan dito, mga produce ang pinag-uusapan dito na merong of course monetary value. No? Merong monetary value. Pero ang point dito ng Panginoon is what? Ang ginawa ng rich man is nung matanggap niya yung balita na winawaldas ng kanyang katiwaldas yung kanyang pag-aari, tinanggal. No? The manager, the steward was fired by the rich man. Sabi nga, you can no longer be my manager. And then so, sabi tuloy nung give an accounting. No? Pakita mo sa akin mga libro. So makita kung paanong ginawa mo sa aking properties, sa aking mga assets, sa aking mga yaman. No? Nung na-realize ng manager yung kanyang sitwasyon na hindi na pala siya pwede maging manager, no? Nag-alala na siya. No? Kasi siyempre siguro maganda yung position niya. Na-realize niya yung kanyang sitwasyon na magiging either beggar siya, maaaring nauuwi siya sa lansangan, magiging homeless, o di kaya ba magtatrabaho siya ng matindi, maghuhukay, maaaring agriculture, maaaring farming, or whatever it is. Pero sabi niya doon, hindi na ako pwedeng maghukay. Siguro matanda na siya, hindi na kaya, o physically mahina na siya. And then sabi niya yung kanyang pride, nahihiya akong mamalimos. Yan. I am ashamed to beg. So ano naging decision nun? Anong ginawa ng manager? Sabi niya, alam ko na yung gagawin ko. Sabi niya. Ang ginawa niya, makikita mo yun sa verse 4, di ba? I have decided what to do. Sabi niya. Nang sa gayon, pag natanggal na ako, sabi niya, ang mga tao ay tatanggapin pa rin nila ako sa kanilang mga tahanan. So, anong punto niya doon? Anong ginawa niya? Nilapitan niya yung kanyang yung mga debtors ng kanyang amo. Siguro siya rin yung katransaksyon niya. No? Katransaksyon niya na pinautang ng amo through him dahil siya may tagapangasiwa. Nilapitan niya yung isang siguro tenant o debtor. Basta obviously debtor. Sabi niya, magkano ang utang mo sa aking master? Sabi niya, mga 100 measures of oil. O di kaya sa ngayon, katumbas niya is 3,000 liters of olive oil, perhaps. And then sabi niya, anong ginawa niya? Halika, kunin mo yung papeles mo, ilagay mo dyan, ang utang mo na lang is kalahati. So from 100 measures of oil, naging 50 measures of oil. So kung halimbawa 3,000 liters yan, naging 50% na lang, di lalabas na 1,500 liters. So imagine yung value na nawala. Laki, di ba? And then sabi niya naman sa ikalawa, is magkano yung utang mo? Sabi nun, 100 measures of wheat. Sa ngayon, sabi ng mga Bible scholars, yung 100 measures of wheat, equivalent niya ngayon is about 3,000 kilos of wheat. No? 3,000 kilo. So anong ginawa ng manager doon? Sabi niya, sige, umupo ka rito, kunin mo yung dokumento na yan, papeles na yan, at ilagay mo na lang dyan is 80. Nabawasan ng 20%. No? So 20% ng 3,000. Ilan ng 20% ng 3,000? 600. Tama ba? Sabihin tama yung aking math. So nabawasan ng 20% yung utang dapat ng debtor. Ano yung purpose? No? Ano yung purpose nun? You have to understand na malaki. Malaki yung ginawa niyang deduction o di kaya reduction Yung ibinawas na utang is napalaki dahil ang purpose na niya para nang sa gayon, pag natanggal na siyang manager, yung mga nilapitan niya ng mga debtors na kanyang binawasan ang utang, umaasa siya na these people will help him pag nawala na siyang manager. Siguro nga, welcome me in their houses. Probably iniisip niya is tatanggapin siya na magtrabaho para sa kanila dahil hindi ito malilit na debtors. Sabi ko nga kanina, these are big-time debtors given the amount of the obligation or indebtedness that they have, no, towards the master or the rich man. Malaki yan. So the manager probably was expecting na pagka binabawasan ko yung utang nito ng kalahati, at least pwede niya akong i-employ, pwede niya akong pagtrabahuin sa kanyang farm. No? So the point is, he was hoping that these people will welcome him in their eternal dwellings. No? So yun ang naging scenario doon. Nung nalaman nung manager yung ginawa ng nung nalaman ng manager, no? Nung nalaman ng Richmond pala. Nung nalaman ng Richmond yung ginawa ng manager na yon, sabi ng Panginoon sa kanyang parable, the rich man commended, no? Hinangaan pa, kumbaga, short of saying pinuri, no? Hinangaan ng master yung kanyang manager dahil sa kanyang shrewdness, pagiging wise, kumbaga. No? Shrewdness is parang, mas Tagalog yan, napaka-utak naman ito. Di ba? Wise siya dahil, yun nga, gumawa siya ng paraan para iligtas niya yung kanyang sarili. Okay? Napakahalagang tingnan natin yung pagpuri dito ng rich man, hindi sa kanyang dishonesty ang rason kung bakit niya pinupuri yung steward niya. Hindi niya pinupuri yung pagiging dishonest ng kanyang steward, sa halip yung kanyang ginawa na parang smart, napaka-utak niya, no? Ginamit niya yung yaman ng kanyang master, ng kanyang Panginoon, para na sa gayon ihanda yung kanyang sarili sa kaling matanggal na nga siya sa kanyang trabaho.
Maabilidad siya, maabilidad.
Maabilidad, ayan. Thank you, Kuya. Thank you, Kuya. Maabilidad. Exactly right. No? Thank you very much. So, maabilidad. No? So, sabi nga natin, pag sinabi mo maabilidad ka, naunawaan mo yung sitwasyon mo at alam mo na agad yung pwede mong gawin. Meron kang abilidad. Yun nga. Maabilidad ka na gumawa ng paraan para iligtas ang sarili mo sa masamang sitwasyon na kinalalagyan mo ngayon. No? You know, it's the quality of being sharp in practical affairs. Sabi nga ng isang dictionary. No? And then sa verse 8, sinabi ngayon ng Panginoon Jesus, for the sons of this world are more shrewd. No? Mas mautak sila, mas maabilid sila, yung sons of this world, in dealing with their own generation than the sons of light. So the sons of the world are more shrewd. No? And I tell you, sabi niya, make friends for yourselves by means of unrighteous wealth, so that when it fails, they may receive you into the eternal dwellings. Okay? Now, of course, pagbalikan mo dun sa verse 8, nung sinabi ng Panginoon na the children of this world are more shrewd, no, in dealing with their own generation. Yung sons of this world, o di kaya children of this world, siyempre, tinutukoy nito siyempre yung mga unbelievers. No? Ito yung mga, the children of this age. Kasi yung comparison ng Panginoon Jesus dito, it's between children of the world and children of light, or sons of the age and sons of the light. No? Sinasabi niya na mas, mas madunong, mas maabilidad itong anak ng mundo kaysa sa mga anak na nasa liwanag pagdating sa kanilang bagay pagdating sa bagay dito sa mundo. Yan, no? The children, sabi ni Barnes na sa kanyang commentary notes on the Bible, sabi ni Barnes, the children of this world are those who are devoted to this world, who live for this world only, no? Who are careful only to obtain property and to provide for their temporal necessities. It does not mean that they are especially wicked and profligate. Hindi rin sila talaga mabusang o buod ng kasamaan, but only that they are worldly and anxious about earthly things. So tinutukoy din daw dito, sabi ng mga ibang scholars, it does not only refer to unbelievers, but it could also refer to believers, sabi niya, whose focus is on things that are of this world. Of course, kumontra dyan ibang mga scholars, sabing mali, kasi ang description dito ng Panginoon Jesus is between the children of the world and the children of the light. Kung titignan mo yung pahayag na scripture, New Testament scripture patungkol sa mundo, do not be friendly with the world, no? Because anything that is in the world, everything that is in the world is of the devil. So, and other passages by Paul sa Romans and sa kanyang epistles, binabanggit na the world, of course, is against the sons of light, no? We are not children of this world, but rather we are children of light. So yung comparison ng Panginoon dito is patungkol nga sa children of the world who speak only of those, sabi nga ni Barnes, devoted to this world. Meaning talaga dapat unbeliever yun kasi ang kanilang conscience lang, they only live for this world, no? They live for this world only. Yung kanyang commentary doon. Nagsabi naman ni Barnes, of course, the children of light are only those who have been enlightened from above. And obviously, these are those who are Christians. Kaya talaga yung comparison lang niya is between the unbeliever and those who are children of God. So for those who are not the children of God, those who are the children of this world, mga unbelievers, sabi ng Panginoon, mas shrewd sila, mas maabilidad, no? Pagdating sa mga bagay dito sa mundo kaysa sa mga children of light. And then sabi pa niya doon, make for your friends, make friends, sabi niya doon, ba? Using worldly riches, no? Sabi doon, no? Make friends for yourselves by means of unrighteous wealth. Sa ibang version nga, worldly wealth, worldly riches, so that when it fails, they may receive you into the eternal dwellings. Madalas ang nagiging problema dito is yung verses 8 and 9, no? Nagiging problema yung verses 8 and 9 dahil ang dami-daming ibang interpretation doon. And as a matter of fact, may binabasa akong article na sinasabing the manager there was not being dishonest dahil ang ginagawa ng manager doon, hindi niya binawasan yung utang ng mga debtors. Ang ginawa lang niya is winave lang niya yung kanyang commission. Winave lang niya yung kanyang patong kumbaga. No? There's some commentaries na yun ang sinasabi. Pero in reality, dinescribe ni Luke yung manager na being unjust. If you go back to the passage sa parable ng Luke chapter 16, dinescribe ni Luke mismo na yung manager doon is really unjust. No? Bakit? Kasi nga, ang ginawa niya is yung allegation na winawaldas niya yung pera, no, ng kanyang amo. And then sabi niya sa verse 8, the master commended the dishonest manager. So Luke specifically identified the manager as dishonest. Dahil sa parable, hindi lang siya inaakusahan na dishonest siya, but rather, clearly, sa paliwanag ni Luke dito sa kanyang pagkakasulat, ayon sa salaysay ng ating Panginoon, talagang binawasan niya yung utang ng mga debtors para makuha yung pabor ng mga debtor na yun. Sacrificing, of course, the interest of his master. Hindi siya nagiging honest. No? Kaya tinawag ni Luke na dishonest manager siya. No? So, ang nagiging problema doon is yung verses 8 and 9. No? We have to understand na ang punto ng Panginoon dito is that yung children of this world, mas maabilidad sila para alagaan yung kanilang sarili interest. No? Yun ang punto doon. Dahil sa parable, yun ang ginawa ng manager. No? Pinakita yung abilidad ng manager para protektahan yung kanyang sariling interest. Not the interest of the master. Not the interest of the rich man. And that is the sons of the world. Naturalmente, dahil nga ang kanilang pananaw is temporal matters lang, mga temporal things, ang kanilang poprotektahan yung kanilang sarili interest. So pagdating sa kanilang interest, siyempre ang mga unbelievers mas maabilidad sila to protect their own interest compared to the children of light. Bakit? Kasi ang children of light, tayo, anong turo sa atin? We are to love, di ba? Our neighbor as we love ourselves, di ba? may self-denial na requirement sa mga followers of Christ. If you want to follow me, deny yourself, completely deny yourself, pick up your cross, come and follow me. Hindi protecting ourselves, but rather we are protecting the interest also of our brothers and sisters. In fact, hindi sinabi ni Pablo sa Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4, no? Huwag mo i-consider yung interest mo lang. Consider mo yung interest ng mga kapatiran mo. Makita mo yan sa Philippians chapter 2. And no wonder the Lord here is saying that the children of the world are more shrewd, no, compared to the children of the light when it comes to their own matters. Kasi yun ang description ng mga unbelievers. They protect their own interest, and to the point na kahit apakan nila yung interest ng sino man tao, wala na silang pakialam. They don't care at all, di ba? As long as yung kanilang interest ay protektado. So nung sinabi ng Panginoon na make friends for yourselves, make for yourselves friends, no, of this world by using unrighteous wealth, so that when it fails, they may welcome you to their eternal dwellings. Dapat basahin natin yung verse 9 in conjunction, o di kaya related doon sa verse 4 ng parable. Hindi mo pwedeng pagtuunan lang yung verse 9 o verse 8 by itself, o verse 9 by itself. Kasi sabi nga natin, nung sinulat yung scripture, walang verses pa nun, no? Reference lang yan eh. So we have to read that passage in relation doon sa unyang binanggit, na yung dishonest manager, gagawin niya is ganito. Ibabawasan niya yung mga utang para pag wala, hindi na siya manager, nawalan siyang trabaho, merong ibang sasalo sa kanya. It is an illustration na the children of this world will use ways and means para protektahan ang kanilang interes. Para pag nawala na yung kanilang siguro posisyon o may nangyari man sa kanila, ang gagawin nila is they will go back to those na kanilang siguro allegedly naging kaibigan by using unrighteous wealth. Meaning, yung verse 9 has to be read in conjunction doon sa sinabi ng Panginoon sa verse 4 patungkol sa motive ng unjust steward. Ano yung motive niya? He will use his master's money to gain favor of the debtors so that these debtors will help the manager kahit na it is prejudicial, nakakasama sa interest ng kanyang master. So, when the rich man commended the manager, he was commending him dahil sa kanyang abilidad, pagiging tuso, kumbaga, no? Abilidad niya na ba? Ginamit mo pa yung pera ko para lang talagang makaano ka, no? It was more, sabi nga na iba scholar doon, it could be in a sarcastic way na pinuri niya yung abilidad ng kanyang manager. Hindi nangangahulugan na, of course, the Lord is not promoting that we should be shrewd when it comes to worldly treasures. Dahil pag yun ang ating interpretation, we are missing the point of the parable. Yung point ng parable is very clear sa succeeding verses. Ano yung point ng parable? Ano yung point ng Panginoon sa kanyang mga disciple? Yung faithfulness dapat sa mga pinagkatiwala sa atin. Makikita mo sa verses 10 to 13 yung closing ng kanyang parable Sabi niya, one who is faithful in a very little is what? Is also faithful in much. And one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. Kung ikaw ay faithful ka sa maliit na bagay, magiging faithful ka rin sa malaking bagay. No? Pero kung yung maliit na bagay mismo hindi ka natapat, no? Hindi ka rin magiging tapat sa malalaking bagay. Kaya sabi niya sa verse 11, kung gayon, kung ganun nga na ikaw hindi ka naging tapat sa unrighteous wealth, no? Who will entrust to you the true riches? So dito ngayon yung sinasabi ng Panginoon, the children of this world are more shrewd than the children of the light. Mas mabilis sila pagdating sa mga kamundong bagay. No? Bakit? Hindi ipagkakatiwala sa kanila yung true riches. Bakit? Kasi sa unrighteous wealth na lang. Ano yung unrighteous wealth na yun? Yung pera. No? Hindi na sila tapat. Paano pa sila pagkakatiwalaan ng tunay na yaman? I'm not saying that money is bad. No, money itself is not evil. No? money is not evil. You have to read that sa other passages of scripture na the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not money itself because money is necessity. Money is not forbidden. It is just the way the world works. No, without money, you cannot acquire things. What is wrong is when we start to serve money instead of serving God. Kaya nga sa parable of the talents, ang turo doon is while waiting for the day of the return of the Lord, let us not be greedy. That is how we take watch. That is how we take watch. Instead, yung mga resources natin, we use it to feed the hungry. Hindi yung social justice, but feeding those who are in need na kapatiran. Feeding, expressing love to the brothers and sisters in the Lord. So yung point dito ng Panginoon is that kung sa maliit na bagay na lang, hindi ka na pagkatiwalaan, paano pa maipagkakatiwala sa ang tunay na yaman? If you have not been faithful in that which is another's, kung hindi ka naging tapat mismo sa pag-aari ng ibang tao, paano pa maibibigay sa iyo yung para sa iyo? No? And then, mas piniliwanag niya sa verse 19, no servant can serve two masters. Ano yun? For either he will hate the one and he will love the other. Or he will be devoted to the one master and he will despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. That is how the Lord concluded the parable. Yun ang point niya doon eh. Ang point niya, it's not about yung the rich man commending the shrewd, the unjust manager, and therefore we should also make use of our wealth to make friends. That's not the point of the Lord. The point of the Lord is that we should be faithful to the things that have been entrusted to us. Kaya malit na bagay man yan. Kung ano yung pag-aari ng iba that has been entrusted to us, we should be faithful. Not looking after our own interest, hindi tulad ng shrewd manager, that he only looked after his own interest because children of the world yun eh. But as children of light, we are not to be like the shrewd manager, no? Na iniisip lang niya yung kanyang sarili interest. Using his master's money, using his master's possessions, para protektahan lang yung kanyang sarili interest. Tayong children of light, we are not as shrewd as the children of the world. And this is a reminder that we cannot serve God and money. Whatever has been entrusted to us, let us be faithful. How can we be faithful? By not being greedy, but rather by being good stewards of whatever has been entrusted to us by God Himself, or by the Lord, or entrusted to us by. It talks about earthly possessions. How faithful are you when it comes to earthly possessions? Do these earthly possessions possess you? Or do we use these earthly possessions, to help those who are, brothers, sisters who are in need? Do we help the? He is Lord. He has risen from the dead. And He is Lord.